Easter and our faith. It's all about Jesus, a former priest to my Irish countrymen and women. Let me shock you a little. Paul Lennon from Dublin. Clerical sex abuse dealt a death blow to Catholicism in my native Ireland. The Catholic Church in the USA, country of my mental and spiritual recovery, is split between progressives and conservatives, basically along political lines. The Catholic Church in my present country, Guatemala, has lost millions of members to evangelical groups, which I attribute to poor preaching and woeful religious education. A group of close Mexican friends are devastated by the Vatican not taking action for 60 years against their pedophile founder, Father Marcial Maciel, and then finally punishing him with a limp slap on the wrist. It's a bit of a mess. In fact, it's a big mess. Some of my own sisters and many of my nieces and nephews in Ireland are no longer believers or no longer practicing Catholics. From a nation of believers, we have become a nation of complainers and blamers. Forgive me. I keep hearing people bashing the church. That's the main target of our ire. I assume they mean the clergy, the hierarchy, bishops, cardinals, the Vatican, the Pope. Forget them. During my midlife crisis, I hung on to the essentials, jettisoning childish faith and superstitions. I chose Jesus as the core of my faith, not priests, not bishops, not the Pope, not the Vatican. That was the big mistake in Ireland and in other places. Our religion became priest centered instead of Christ centered. I remember my Uncle Francie back in Dublin hanging around our house and standing on the stairs, a self proclaimed Marxist, railing against this priest ridden country. But it didn't stop me from becoming a priest. But now I have to agree with him to a certain extent. Priests were put on pedestals and with the bishops wielded worldly power and instilled fear. Probably fear of God, I suppose. Jesus was not all that important, mostly fear of God. Priestly studies taught me that every baptized person is a Christian, a follower of Jesus the Christ, at least potentially, at least if you want to. Unless we renounce our baptism, we are all Christians. If we're in the Catholic Church, we're Catholic Christians or Christian Catholics. But you can always renounce your baptism if you choose to do so, and feel free and get on with your life. Maybe stop bashing so much. I chose Jesus over materialism and pleasure seeking. I like to call him my little Jesus. Am I getting sentimental now? Jesus, the son of Joseph and Mary from the small town of Nazareth, the one horse town or one donkey town, probably, in the province of Galilee, out in the boonies, as the Americans would say. I say little because little, especially in Spanish, all those ito, pequeñito, is a very affectionate term. And besides, my studies also told me that we don't know anything about the physical appearance of Jesus. That's where I want to shake you up or shock you in case you didn't know already, but it's good to kind of shake up things a little bit. Was Jesus tall? Was he short? Was he stout? Oh, fat Jesus. Oh, or skinny? Was he handsome like he's supposed to be in the movies and pictures? Or was he ugly? A big nose. Nothing in the Gospels tell us about the physical appearance of Jesus. That's all imagination, pious imagination, and I might say sloppy sentimentality, which we may have mistaken for faith, maybe. Part of a sentimental and childish religion. Challenging people here, which we should not mistake for real faith, which is tougher thing, harder thing, will and intelligence, will and mind. Anyway, it's Easter. Remember, they crucified him and put him to death on the day between the Jewish Pesach, Passover, and the Sabbath, over or about 2,000 years ago. The Gospel of Mark tells us there were some women who thought he was special. A rabbi, itinerant preacher, really, a healer, performed, some people, miracles, we believe, a prophet, certain attitudes, stances of his. Could he have been the suffering servant prophesied by the prophet Isaiah? Or even a paradoxical, humble Messiah? On entering the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a white robe, and they were utterly amazed. He said to them, "Do not be amazed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, the crucified. He has been raised. He's not here. Look at the place where they laid him. But go and tell the disciples and Peter, he is going before them to Galilee. There you will see him as he told you." My prayers and wish is that this Pesach, Passover, liberation celebrated for Jews and Christians, this Easter may mean our liberation from childish faith and the dawning of a more mature faith, which will bring us peace and joy. Thanks for bearing with me and my little preaching on this eve of Easter 2021. All the best.